So today I want to focus more on the spiritual, emotional, and mental side of health coaching. And I know for a lot of you, this will be super relatable because you yourself, I know, has had a life-changing experience and you're ready to use your story and your message to build an incredible health coaching business that's going to transform thousands of lives. So with that being said, I'm going to share my personal story of how I went from a stage 4 cancer survivor to then transforming thousands of lives as a health coach. And I'm not going to really dive too deep into my actual story today, but more the transformation. So if you want to hear more about my story, just go check out my YouTube channels down below and you can really check out my story where I dive deeper into that aspect. But where we're going to start with today is how I was able to then first heal myself and then use that to really elevate myself into a health coach. So I have a little saying is, in order to be selfless for others, you must first be selfish for yourself. And for me, after I had gone through cancer and I'd gone through many complications such as my coma in the ICU for over 40 days, dropping down to 110 pounds, I had to really rebuild myself mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and everything in between. And it started off with really first working through the mental aspect of things, working through the limiting beliefs that I've had with myself. Maybe that I'm not worthy enough, maybe worrying what other people might think of me because I was a 185-pound healthy personal trainer to then a shell of myself, having a lot of body image issues, working spiritually with God, working through the fact that at times I used to blame him, or I used to be frustrated with God because I was asking, why did you put me through these situations? But then instead of saying, why is this happening to me? I started to ask God, how is this happening for me in life? How are you giving me lessons and tools to have such a greater purpose that I could never see? And that is something that maybe you are dealing with right now, is working with God and asking him, why did you put me through these challenging situations? And I promise you, if you dig deep and you really grow strong in your faith, not only is he going to give you lessons, but he's going to give you a vision and a purpose to go along with it, which is where I'll get to here soon. So after I was able to do that, I would slowly rebuild myself physically as well, learning to walk again, starting with 2-pound weights and incrementally going up in that and eating a little bit more calories, getting a little bit healthier. And eventually I gained my weight, I gained my strength back. And within about 1.5 to 2 years, I had gained about 85 pounds back. I had worked on myself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually with God. And I was ready to then start to share my story. Because I know for a lot of you, it may be very nerve-wracking, and it may be a lot of things that you have to work on internally before you feel like you're ready to share your story. Because there is a lot of baggage that you have to unpack, and especially I feel like for us men, we have a tough time opening up a lot in life. We have a tough time sharing our story because it can feel like a weakness. But I'm going to tell you right now, the more you're willing to open up and really share with what you went through and share the things you've learned, it's actually such a strength, and you are going to find that you are helping so many lives with it. So once I did that, I started to join some business groups because I had no idea where I wanted to go with my life, and I needed to start to surround myself with the right people. So the next step after I figured, healing myself was, who do I need to get, or who do I need to surround myself in order to get myself to that next level? And I always say, you are the average of the 5 people that you hang around with the most. So if you're hanging around with people who are drinking and partying all the time, and that's all they ever do, guess what you're going to gravitate towards? You're going to gravitate towards that. So for me, I had to start to gravitate towards people who had a mindset, who had a vision, and were places that I wanted to be, that they were already at, and I could learn from them. So I started to join those groups, and what they did was, number one, they were interested in knowing more about myself, and I had to open up there. And when I finally did, and they heard my story, they gave me the courage to start sharing it more. So I started to join podcasts. I started to go into live speaking where I traveled and started to share my story that way. And that gave me so much confidence and so much courage to not just share my story, but having the courage to want to help and heal others. And before I was even diagnosed with cancer, I was always working out. I was a personal trainer. I was in the health field. And then I had to, of course, like I just said, for 1.5 to 2 years, work on myself and healing myself through nutrition, through workouts, and through, proper hydration, sleep, all of that. So then I said, okay, how can I use everything that I went through to then start to heal and help other people along my journey as well? So what I started to do was I transitioned from speaking into more coaching. And I started off with cancer survivors, and that was because I knew they could relate to me. So for your example is maybe start sharing your story, start putting it out onto social media, start, getting it out there, creating content, because the more content you have of the experiences that you went through and the lessons you've learned, the more people are going to gravitate towards you, and you're going to figure out what they want and what they're looking for. So then you can start to build off of that. And what I did was, I said, all right, cancer survivors went through chemo, they went through radiation, they went through surgeries, they lost a lot of weight. So how can I help them regain that weight just like I did? I lost all this weight, I had to learn to do all these things again, and how can I help them rebuild their lives? So that is how I started my health coaching business. And what I did was I actually started by building a Facebook group. And I built the Facebook group just for motivation, and this was people who were going through cancer, patients and survivors. And the more I started sharing, the more impact I felt I had. And then I started to dial in and start talking individually with different cancer survivors. And eventually I started to do one-on-one coaching with them, where I would really dive in and I would help them through the physical, the emotional, the mental aspect of it. And that is how I started my coaching business. After that, I then quickly realized that, charging cancer survivors and asking them, to be a part of a coaching program just didn't feel aligned with what I wanted to do with my life. So this is why I transitioned into now helping you, who is somebody who has an inspiring story, who has an incredible message that you can use to change other people's lives. And that is what I had to work on for years and years to now be able to share with you guys. So that was my whole step-by-step process, guys, where I first, once again, had to be in order to be selfless, I had to be selfish for myself first, work on myself. Then I had to surround myself with the right people. Remember, you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Give yourself ideas, give yourself courage. Then I started to put myself out there building content. After I started building content, I then was able to start attract people into my ecosystem. I then used that to start doing one-on-one coaching. And then when you start building a clientele, you can start doing more group coaching once you start getting 10 or 15 clients. And then if that's where you want to go, you can accelerate your business. For my sake, I said, okay, I want to take mine the next step further and help different individuals that I know, is aligned with where I want to help these people in life. So that is my whole step-by-step process. That is my whole journey, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, of what I had to go through to really elevate myself to where I'm at today. And I hope this gives you guys some ideas of where you can go too, because I know for a fact you aren't watching this if you don't have this incredible journey that you've been on. So if you are looking to, if you feel like you're in that beginning stage, be patient with yourself, work with God, work with your internal beliefs and things like that, because there's a lot of things sometimes that we have to be patient with and unpack and uncover in order for us to get to that next level. Remember, guys, this isn't just gonna happen overnight. Where I do think will happen overnight is when you work on yourself internally and spiritually. It'll be like this, and then financially, all of a sudden, once you've worked on all of these things, and you start having the courage and the confidence to get people into your coaching business, you are going to see a massive shift. It's not just going to be this little increment. I really think you're going to see this huge shift because you took 2, 3, 4, however many months or years you needed to work on yourself, and then it just skyrockets off. Like when you see people just absolutely take off in life, I promise you there's years that they've worked on themselves, and maybe you've done the work now and you're ready to take off, and you're at that stage where it just is like you need a little bit of courage, you need a little bit of, you know, that one extra push, and maybe this video is it for you to really get to that next level. So I'm gonna end that video with that right there. And once again, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to work on yourself, and don't be afraid to feel like you are worthy enough to change other people's lives, because you are, and your story and your message and your life-changing experience is relatable to so many people, and they need to hear your message. So if this is something that resonates with you and you are like, hey, maybe I just need a little bit of accountability, or I need a little bit more clarity, check down below and book a call with me, where it's a free call. I'd love to hear more about your story. I'd love to hear more about your business and see how we can really elevate it to that next level. And if it's a good fit, I would love to work further with you. But really, I just want to help you. I want to see where we can go with things. And you know, like I said, if you're looking for more clarity, maybe a little bit more accountability, book that call down below and we can chat a little bit further. So thanks again, guys. Matt Odie, CEO and founder of Survivor HQ, and we'll talk to you guys soon.